Akambida Yesu akambida walabe boko wanga mokanyo abwene manga ziokensia ne yake wawendo tio datu akambida Yesu akambida balabatoka misio akambida Yesu akambida walawe koko wanga na yungu wetengela nyo niromana na ilingi nyendilo na mosolonge nondonekana kanga akambida Yesu akambida balabatoka misio akambida Yesu akambida walabe kwoko kwanga.
Asanteni kabisa, hamujaniangusha, mumeniinua.
Mumesikia Kenya mpya women right paka apate chake. Okay, let's get back to the subject. I'm confused because I have nothing to say, and yet I have to say something. You covered a wide field about my son, some of which has astounded me because I didn't know that he was so much to many of you, and his performance was that wide. Allow me just to fill in what you didn't know that is relevant to everything that you defined. First, David, I call him Amilcar. Those of my older generation must know there was some freedom fighter somewhere in West Africa called Amilcar Cabral. His mother gave him the name David. Then I gave him the local name Shikomera. David was a healthy boy. I don't remember ever, as he grew up, taking him, carrying him, and taking him to hospital, except for circumcision. I don't remember. He was a healthy boy, active all the time, intelligent, very calm. And I have a lot of pictures for him. And I thank God for that opportunity. David started being a judge when he was 8. And I was the first person to be presented before him. And he found me guilty, but suspended my sentence. You know, in those days, before we came from porridge, every developed person used to keep some sugar, some milk. If a visitor comes in, you boil tea. Na tunasema chai ya baridi. And yet this person is coming in sweating. So you wonder, chai ya baridi. No, chai ya moto. Hii ni ya nini? As we progressed, we came up with sodas and juices at the kitchen. But if you all know, biscuits in the house and cakes in the house with children between 5 and 6, before you realize, they are gone. Somehow, if you have a drawer, you put them in the topmost drawer so that they don't finish. And you're not doing it badly. You're just concerned that should somebody come in, they will be easily available for you to serve and make them comfortable. My son David had seen the packet. So he came, Daddy, can I have biscuits? And I said, they are finished. He looked at me and said, if they are finished, why don't you give me that packet? I play with it. And he walked away. He passed judgment on me that I was a liar. And I felt very guilty. I now know that he knows something. And I'm not surprised. This performance he started at. He judged me to be a liar, but never sentenced me. Let's move. Another story you don't know. It's Justice Mwera here. My hope and my desire as I left high school, I never dreamt of anything but to be a judge. And I prepared myself, I organized myself in studies, everything, to be a judge. And perhaps Justice Kwame, he would have replaced me as the Chief Justice. But we had something. Wewe una mpango yako, Mungu ana mpango yake. 1969, after completing, when I left Kakamega, I had some of the best grades in the science subjects. But I then chose to go to art subjects in Kisii. My teachers told me, Gershom, why? This country wants doctors, it wants engineers, and you are very bright. Why are you going to do this useless thing? History, literature. Your country doesn't want history, it wants engineers. I said, no, my heart is to be a lawyer and consequently to be a judge. And I know I can improve my language and so on if I read these subjects. So I want to go to Kisii. Anyway, I ended up packing, going to Kisii. But when I arrived in Kisumu, I met some fellow whose name I've forgotten, whom we were with. And he told me, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Kisii. He said, why? I'm going from area. He told me, no. Another very good school has come up called Kenyatta College, HSD. You know, from Kisumu by bus then was 5 shillings OTC. So I got onto the bus with this young man. I trusted him. I arrived at Kenyatta. I was admitted for my A-level. I completed my A-level, but there was a tragedy. I developed an illness by the end of 69, which was never settled until late. It was a small thing until late 1970. Meanwhile, that's why I'm asking for Justice Mwera. I was offered to study law in Dar es Salaam, and I was excited. But due to illness, I couldn't make it. By the time I recovered around June, one semester had gone, and then there were no telephones. You had to use a telegram. You had to do all sorts of things to it. By the time I contacted them, they said, sorry, we can't. You are late. Wow. The law school had started in Nairobi, so I applied. I applied to the law school, determined to be what? To make sure that when Justice Kome comes, I'll hand over the power. But they then told me, no. You can't do law, because my grades were a bit lower. Then they put me in what became a joke in Nairobi University called Bachelor of Anything. Gosh. I decided to make the best of it. Then there was a course called 311. If you did very well at the first year in a particular paper, you were allowed to do a 311. So I specialized in economics and statistics, and that became my career over the years and so on. The rest is history. I raised my son. You know, the young people today who are raising children are very unfortunate. At that time, the parents were the only source of information. Radio ile KBC ilikuwa inaanza saa 11, saa 5 imefunga. There were no mobile phones, TVs, films. So when you told your child something, it is the only one he or she knew. I raised my children under those circumstances. They listened to me, and they are wonderful children. And I thank God for it. I thank God for it. And David was one of them. And I appreciate, and I've seen the results of that effort by the Almighty. And I want to repeat that I'm intensely grateful to all of you for the love you showed, to thank God for making him who he was, and I'm just defeated. I have no more to add. Thank you. The church, wow, you are a wonderful people. You raised me. I came in almost on my knees, but the songs, the music, the talk. I hope when I walk out of here, I'll not be supported by people to come in. Thank you to you. I thank God. I thank you. I thank the leadership for that. My 3 are here who are waiting because I think they just want to say hi. Thank you and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gershom. Youngest sister would want to say something. In fact, she was the darling of David. kindly talk.
Good morning or good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming here to support us. Everybody who's here, everybody who has called, everybody who has just been around us. I was going to read my tribute, but I think I'll use a shorter path. Going with the theme of going with speed, when we were kids, we used to like watching TV and movies together, and we came from that place where you forward and rewind movies and such. And my weakness is when I start something, I have to finish it, even when it's boring. I don't know, those people who love reading books, and then it's like the book, you're halfway, and you're not really enjoying it, but you really think you have to finish it because maybe it'll get better. And so I think David figured me out. And the truth is, some of the movies my father used to get were boring, but I was not at the level to understand, like, maybe we don't need to watch this. Or maybe I was just super determined. So what he would do, because David is just about 6 years older than me, even though nobody believes me, he's just 6 years older than me. So what he would do is, because firstborns have clout, every time a scene in a movie got boring, he'd be like, "Oh, Annette, you're being called in the kitchen," or "Go and get this." And then I sort of had no way of opting out. And then when I'd go, he'd forward the movie, really forward it. And then I come back and the movie's gone really far, but then it's like, "Yeah, no, don't talk. We're paying attention. I'll tell you what's happened." And so I honestly didn't know that this was happening for maybe a few years until much later. And then the second thing is Louis, who is just also a year younger than David, but nobody will believe him. So, you know, when the military band is marching in public holidays, and the band has this big hats, the tall hats. And so he told Louis, "Those are drums." So and he was like, "Yeah, those are drums." And so the thing was that Louis kept waiting to see them drumming, because it's like, yeah, they drum their heads. Like when they're marching, they start drumming their heads. But then what he would do would be the same thing as me, which is he'd distract him, and then he said, "Oh, you missed it. It's true, they're drums." And I mean, they look like drums, right? Like, just go and see the footage. I don't know when the next public holiday is happening, but just see them. They look like drums. But that is the brother I knew. You people knew somebody else. I don't know. It's just so. But he brought so much joy in my life. He was my guide. He's the one who. All the dreams I've ever had, David has always said, "Yeah, that's a very good idea." I mean, it's like he's never shot me down, and I think it's wonderful to have a champion for your dreams, and David has been that. Thank you.
I just wish they talk a little. I can see Honorable looking at the watches. Kindly be brief as possible as you can. Please.
Good afternoon. My name is Janet. Lucky for you, my younger sister took all the words, so I don't have a lot of words. She speaks so much more, like 100 times more than me. So I want to just say thank you so much for being with us throughout this journey. I have heard so many stories from some of you. I've learned so much about my brother that he was doing that none of us even knew about. And I just want to say thank you. And this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad. Okay, I'd also just like to, I'm married in Nyakach, and probably it's just good for my family from that side just to stand up and wave. And I also want to thank them for coming here to support me. Thank you.
Luis, welcome, and be brief as possible as you can, please. And I know you talk American English.
No.
Kindly go ahead.
Good afternoon. Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for their kindness and the stories they've shared about David, to let us know a lot. There's another David that the world experienced that we only had a hint of. I'd just like to talk about the last month of with David. It was about a month ago, David and I took a trip to Ghana. He mentioned that it was the first time he had really taken a vacation. So we went to Ghana, we met some people, we went to Kumasi for I think the Ashanti Kings Silver Jubilee, and we had such a fantastic time. And in the middle of that, David was trying to connect with the kingship over there to organize a conference around traditional jurisprudence. We were on vacation, but still he was trying to figure out a way to add value to it. I hope that's something that judiciary can pick up. But for me, I was excited. I mean, we haven't, David and I, we started together and moved to different parts of profession and world where I was doing my thing, he was doing his thing. So this was the first time we were having a vacation together, and I was looking forward to having many more. In hindsight, it feels like that was, a farewell journey between the two of us. I really loved my brother. But thanks so much for the support, the stories, and the kindness that you've shown to our family. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to acknowledge my in-laws, if they can just stand up for a minute. In-laws? A few.
I know there are so many people who would want to talk, but we have little time. They are alumni, we are friends, but I think it's we can't allow it now because our time is not okay. We are supposed to change. In this hall or church, we have political line. I just wish to call Honorable Ikana, who has lost a member of his constituency, Justice Majanja. I would wish each one of takes 30 seconds, please. Karibu, Honorable Ikana. And you introduce your colleagues, and then we would want to hear the judiciary. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Our Chief Justice, Justice Kome, together with our Speaker, National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, and all dignified mourners. Good morning. It's actually good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today is a very sad day because we have come to see off our brother, Justice David. David was a very, very close friend of mine. He was a brother I would always seek out when I needed guidance on matters leadership and many other aspects of life. Today, many of our colleagues in the National Assembly would have wished to be here, but some of them are attending other commitments. We have PG and committee members looking at other aspects of leadership. But if there is any who is around, I just want to acknowledge him or her. Any member of National Assembly or Senate, feel appreciated. Thank you so much, my colleagues. Because of time, unless you'll allow them 1 second. Okay. Due to public demand, please just stand up and wave. Thank you so much. Asante, asante. We are well guided. Fellow mourners, in respect of Justice David, just allow me to say one thing. David was a leader in many aspects. As you all know, he was recently re-elected to represent the judges and magistrates in the Judicial Service Commission. That is just a testament of who he was to his colleagues. As leaders, Let us emulate his good example of kindness and service to humanity. In Shinyalu, where I come from, and the family of Gerishoma brought a lot of condolences from the great people of Shinyalu, who many were unable to get here, but they really loved their son. He was involved in so many activities, both to the church and even in education. His uncle, Ibrahim Liai, just mentioned that about 2 weeks ago, we were mobilizing resources to support his church of Mukango in Isoka East. Again, we were just at the tail end of finalizing plans to do an outreach program with him in one of the schools that he held dear to his heart. That is Liranda Girls High School in Shinyalu. We are praying that we continue supporting the community, we continue supporting the family. And to the judiciary and the legal fraternity, I want to say thank you so much for holding our brother. Thank you so much for helping him get and achieve all that he has achieved in his professional cycles. Special mention to our elder brother, Justice Muchelule, and our brother Moses Wetangula. I know the journey that you have walked with David. And support.
Friend of David, I don't know who is this. Can he be able to come and say hi? Well, just one person. A friend of David. I didn't know his name. Oh. Let us not
uniquely and fondly recall Marge for many outstanding attributes. His cherished booming voice, the booming baritone voice that each year announced the long-awaited arrival of the Christmas season. In the intervening years since we left school to our class, he wrote, and I quote, "Good afternoon. We thank God for his kindness for another year. It is now our tradition to hold an annual fundraiser for the benefit of the families of our departed brothers. The families of Dr. Samuel Amwai and Dr. Fred Okango benefited from our generosity in the past. We now have the families of the late Vincent Odhiambo and the late Sora Bati. Let us do this again." End quote. Beyond nudging us to offer material support, Marge additionally challenged us to visit the families of our deceased brothers in the coming year, that is this year. The Alliance High School class of 90, spirit of our fall in January 1987, Marge, alongside 107 classmates, embarked on a transformative journey within the confines of a bush on the edge of Ondiri Swamp, right by Kikuyu town. To guide us through this journey, we were given a song, and a prayer. In the prayer given unto us, we pray that we may learn and grow and transform into men who in God's name and in God's power may serve their fellows faithfully. Marge lived up to this creed and was a true embodiment of this process. He was a true embodiment of this promise. The song given unto us was also a prayer. I hesitate to cite it in prose, for I will be doing gross injustice to a man of justice, a choral master who valiantly led us in song. I therefore call upon the gentlemen of Alliance High School, wherever you are, please stand. Gentlemen of Alliance High School, let us salute our fallen brethren. Let us send off our brother in verse. Let us sing our school anthem. Job Morangiri, please lead us. Lord, for all mankind, we pray for every clime and coast. Oh, hear us for our native school, the school we love the most, the school we love the most, the school we love the most. Rest in peace, David Majanja. Sing with the angels. Thank you.
I thought legal will be introduced by my colleague who is coming to run the program. I don't know why they're coming here, maybe through me, but I thought they'll go through the legal line so they can talk. I don't know. But Luciano, you can say hi, only hi, please, and you go so that public demand says you don't go.
Good afternoon. Allow me to recognize the Lady Justice, the Chief Justice, the DCJ, Speaker. Commissioners of the Judicial Service Commission, judges of the High Court, judges of the Environmental and Land Court, judges of the Employment and Labor Relations Court, the magistrates, the legal interns, advocates, senior counsel, and all the mourners who've come here today. Good afternoon. My name is Steve Luceno. Although in the program you'll note that I happen to have founded the farm of Majanja Luceno with David. Before we found the farm, I knew David for 11 years. We met when David and Winston were visiting my sister, and then my sister Lillian, and I think Winston was dating a friend to Lillian. So from there we became good friends, and I joined the law firm of Mohamed Madani. Then David was an advocate at the law firm of Mohamed Muigai. Now the difference was that Mohamed Madani is biased towards commercial practice, and the firm of Mohamed Muigai had a bias towards litigation. So in my pupillage, since I wanted to be a litigation counsel, it is David then who mentored me. Every Friday he could send me a file of authorities that were delivered every week. And his assignment was that I should summarize those authorities over the weekend and send them back to him. So if anyone went to the Milimani Commercial Court Library and you saw the blue files with handwritten notes on the top, that was my work with David and an advocate called Philip Nyachoti. Now, he was my best man, so I don't really perceive him as a business partner. He was my brother. I stayed with him. He was my housemate. I buried my father with David. I buried my sister with David. I remember when he could leave, because he was a very hardworking advocate. He could leave the office at 8:30, and he could call on the landline because his office was at Hazina Towers. So he could tell me, Steve, I'm walking across. I want to have one drink. He had a favorite bar called Zanze during our days. So he could tell me, I need just one drink to clear my mind, then we go. Because we were staying together in Buruburu. Now, as Annette will tell you, David's sleeping time was strictly 9:30. Whether he's in the bar, whether he's in your house, or whether he's in his house, 9:30, he goes to sleep. So you imagine we walk from Nation Center to Zanze, it is 9 o'clock. We order one drink, it is 9:30. And David will tell you, we need to go. So what do? We tell him, let's get one more drink. Then we get a drink, and we will be with a friend of ours called Steve Chege, who was formerly of Safaricom, now Vodafone. So David will say, I'll walk away and leave you people here. But then you could see him start dozing at around 9:45. He starts dozing. But he had a favorite song by Koffi Olomide. And the song was called Efrakata. So at 10 o'clock, I could go to the DJ and tell him this song is normally 7 minutes. Play it double or repeat. So every time the song will start, David will just wake up and you'll see him on the dance floor. Then I tell the DJ, that song could buy us 2 more hours, and we could then get the last matatu, and all through the matatu, David would be dead asleep. I have to make sure that we don't miss our stage. But at 5:30 in the morning, David would wake us up, and we'll go back to work. All I'm saying is, if there was a DJ here, I don't know whether David would wake up. But I'll miss you, David. David, in his unique Mwano ya Merari, translated, why is my son like this? Because he could not understand that even in matters, because my dad was also had some political ambitions. So you could not understand in matters where David was to rule favorably to his party. David was ruling unfavorably, but he was his son. Then you could say, no, tell him that I'm a party leader in that party. But I told him, this is your son, this is integrity. So thank you, Gary Shomon, my dad. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Louis. The Alliance people, we note you. We know David is very happy, the judiciary, and all the advocates who've supported David in his cause. I know for a fact when we set up the farm, the end goal was that he wanted to be on the bench. So he was at his happy place. The only thing that has been bothering me when I got this information is because when David started off, he was to be a medic. So I don't understand why we lost him at a hospital. It saddens me. It saddens me, but I thank you all. God bless you and stay safe.
Thank you very much. I want to hand over to Honorable Justice Ngugi.
President of this primary school, Hill School.
Yeah, I know David had many friends, and even those who are here probably are not even a fraction. so if we allowed all of them to have an opportunity to speak, I think we would have a very long afternoon and a long day. And so thank you very much, friends, for being there.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hamjambo. I note that it's 1:23 p.m. I see that the sugar levels are going down, and I am sorry for that. But we have the entire legal profession, yet to give their speeches. This is by way of giving a warning to those who will be speaking that at most, please speak for 2 minutes, because people are tired, and there are many people who are yet to speak. So I am going to try and use the dictatorial powers I just learned from the MC who just left. In his earlier part, the way he ran the program, I saw that after you spoke for 2 minutes, he approached someone who was talking, and he was required to stop speaking. In this case, the person approaching you will be a Court of Appeal judge. So you'll be advised to stop speaking when the 2 minutes end. But please allow me, in the spirit of saving time, to please establish the protocols so that when you come here, please don't repeat the protocols. And I have also been informed that since we're in church, canon law precedes our own laws and protocols, so these protocols will not be as comprehensive as usual. So please forgive me if they are not that comprehensive. Please allow me to begin with the family of the late Justice Majanja, led by the Patriarch, Mr. Majanja, the Honorable Chief Justice Martha Koome, the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable Moses Wetangula, the Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu, the Head of Public Service, Felix Kosgei, Supreme Court judges present, the Court of Appeal judges are present, led by the President of the Court of Appeal, the judges of the High Court and Equal Status Courts, led by their 3 principal judges, the members of Parliament and senators who are present, the Honorable Director of Public Prosecutions, the Honorable Magistrates present, senior counsels, lawyers, classmates of Majanja, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Those will become our protocols. Please just adopt them as you come to give the speeches this afternoon. Today, you all know that we are here both to mourn our departed brother, but also to celebrate him. We're here to shed our tears in mourning, but also to laugh at the remembrance and memories of the great things that he did, to celebrate his legacy. So that's what we'll be doing in different words, in different guises, in different ways. Please allow me to begin this portion of the program as efficiently as possible. First off, to speak will be a representative from Hill School in Eldoret. Please, if you could please approach. After this, we will have a representative from the Parklands class of 1996. If you can please just be making your way here so that we can save time. And after that, we will have Commissioner Duncan Okello, who will speak on behalf of Chief Justice Emeritus. If the 3 of you can just be in front now so that we can save time, that will be great. Thank you very much. We begin with the representative from Hill School. Karibu.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sheila Komen-Kaino. I'm going to speak on behalf of Hill School and class of 96. I was actually in class with David. I'll not say much because we've been given 2 minutes. We had a tribute from Mr. Paul Scott, who was our principal, and we also had a tribute from the class, but we'll ask that this can be moved to the home over the weekend. So if I may just call upon the Hill School fraternity and class of 86 to stand so that we acknowledge you. Please do where you are. We are quite a number here in the room. Thank you so much. As a class, we've also paid for the house today and also made time to visit Muse the other day, and we sat and he took us through quite a bit of history around his children. So thank you so much. Poleni sana to the Majanja family. Poleni sana to the Hill School family. All the Majanjas were in Hill School. Poleni sana. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Judge Judy to speak on behalf of class of 96.
Good afternoon, Church. My name is Judy Omange. I'm speaking on behalf of class of 96, who had the distinct pleasure of having Justice Majanja as our classmate for 28 years. I ask that if you're a class of 96, please let's just wave. You saw them singing their hearts out here earlier. Yeah, thank you very much. Allow me to just say one word, which is not for class of 96. I knew Justice Majanja when I served as the registrar of the High Court, and I'll say one thing. There was a time when we didn't have money. We have a challenge of money in the judiciary sometimes. Justice Majanja carried out circuit from Homa Bay to Migori for a whole year, funding the people of Migori County so that they could get access to justice. He told me, Judy, the fact that we don't have funds does not mean people do not have to have justice. He cared about just serving without counting the costs. And that is something that is a challenge for us who are still serving. Yes, you can clap for him, please. I think it's something rare to see in public service, and we celebrate Justice Majanja for that. I could talk endlessly, but I'll go to class of 96. We, class of 96, want to thank the Almighty God for the privilege we had of brotherhood with one of Kenya's finest sons. While to the world he was judge or commissioner, to us he was simply Maj. For many of us, he was the teacher who helped us in our education journey by patiently walking us through that difficult, incomprehensible subject. Many shared how he helped them in high school and in campus to be able to overcome educational challenges they were facing. For many others, Maj was the hand that held us back from the brink, either by way of counsel, financial resources, or moral support. The stories have been told. That was our story too in class of 96. For those of us who stumbled, Maj was the steadying hand that offered solid support. Maj was there helping us in life's journey, in good times and in bad times, often with a smile, a belly laugh, a hug, and a very comforting hug and a very huge laugh. Despite his very busy schedule, Maj would always spare a time to call a classmate he knew was going through a difficult period, such as the illness of a close relative. Even as he loved, we knew that for those of us who were practicing advocates, we would win or lose our cases before him fairly. Indeed, some amongst us have testified that we lost cases before him and we fully accepted the verdict. Our class has a tradition started by Professor Ngugi, JA, whereby any classmate who runs into each other would take a photo and share on the class wall. Maj would never pass a classmate without insisting on a photo to capture the moment. He was always in full compliance. I know that judges, magistrates, our classmates, all of us have shared hundreds of photos which we took with Justice Majanja. We could not be able to share all of them today, but we are seeing how we'll package them so that they can form a lifelong memory of who Justice Majanja was. As a class, our hearts are broken, but we remain grateful for the love that we shared with Maj. To his immediate family, and I'm so happy that just as he was close to us, I have now known that he had a family that he was extremely close to and he loved even more perhaps than us. And to the judiciary family, the judges and magistrates and our colleagues in the judiciary, Justice Majanja loved you. When we lost Justice Onguto, he told me, Judy, I'm taking charge of Kisumu. Don't worry about anything in Kisumu. I'll take care of all the judges and the magistrates. Nobody should be worried. And I just want to thank the judiciary family, more so the judges, for having given him the opportunity to serve as a second-term commissioner. It meant the world to him. And he kept on saying that this time I'm going to do even better. I'll hear what the judges have said. We need to do better, and we'll do it. Thank you, Marge, for serving us with such distinction and with so much passion. To the legal fraternity, thank you also for helping us to love Marge. I think it means a lot that he got an award. His work was recognized just last year, and he was able to get his flowers in his lifetime. We thank you for that recognition. At this dark moment, we pray that our Father, who gave Marge to us, may comfort his family. And it's really nice to hear his dad talk. We see where Marge got a lot of the characters that he had, the qualities that he had, and whose loss is surely greater than all of us. May God comfort you, and may he take you through this difficult period. Thank you, Marge, for being a faithful defender of the law, a true compatriot to your country, but most of all, for being our brother and our friend. It has been an honor knowing you and doing life with you. We love you, and we pray that our God, who knew you when you were in your mother's womb and who knows you now, will be with you, our brother. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge Judy. Next, I don't know if Commissioner Okello, Duncan Okello, and as he's making his way, may I ask the Vice President of KMJA, Honorable Rhoda Tor, to please make her way. If she's still here, she'll be speaking next. Or who will be representing KMJA? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Justice Ngugi, for intimidating the speakers. As being Court of Appeal judge, he's also a professor of law. He went to Harvard, and according to him, most importantly, went to Alliance. So there is so much intimidation here, but I shall not be intimidated. But I'll be very short. Mzee and family, Pole Sana, I'm here on my behalf as a friend to and a brother to Marge. I'm also here together with the Okech family that adopted Marge as their son, and the Okech family is led here by my elder brother, George Otieno Solo, is sitting somewhere here, and my sister. I'm also here to pass the condolences of CJ Emeritus, Professor Willie Mutunga. I did a tribute, a very long tribute to Marge, and I will not read it because of time. And that tribute is titled Justice David Majanja, a triple heritage of humanity, intellect, and institutionalism. And I trace the history of Majanja using those three threads. But let me first pass the condolences of CJ Emeritus Willie Mutunga, who would have loved to be here, but he's attending a Pan-Africanist Judges Conference in Accra, Ghana, and would therefore not make it. But he did say that there's one thing I must say about Justice Majanja, and I'll mention it here shortly in my redacted remarks. Justice Majanja was a friend and a brother, a jurist, a judge, a boss, and my pupil master. That is the Majanja tapestry in my life, a very beautiful kaleidoscope radiating with sophistry and humanity. But the full frame of Marge's life can only be understood within the context of humanity, his intellect, and his love for the institution called the judiciary. I know those who knew Marge will strike common course with me when I say this. Today, we are not here to bury him. we are here today to inter the epitome of brilliance. Today, we are not here to bury the diminutive biblical David after whom he was named. Rather, we are here to bury a giant of common decency. Today, we are not here to bury a lawyer. We've come to honor a towering legal mind. And today, we are not here to bury a judge. We are here to entomb a redoubtable institutionalist. As we sit on these pews, we're indeed standing up in respect and awe of a man whose life was the perfect alchemy of sophistry and simplicity. To channel Ernest Hemingway's, this is not a farewell to arms, but to most of us, it is a farewell to a brother in arms. Marge was the embodiment of a generous spirit, human spirit, and serious depth of humanity. Marge was a brother to me. There is not a single event at home, good or bad, that he did not show up for. He showed up for the fundraiser for our church. He showed up when my dad died and made the trip on the eve of Christmas Day and the last day of term of the High Court, which was a very difficult time to travel. He joined the family to try and say, to join us and say, to bid bye to my dad. He was there last year when my niece died at the same hospital. Within 10 minutes, Marge was at her bedside. Indeed, my mother actually publicly declared him a son of the Okech. So last year, sometime this year, he bumped into my sisters in Kisumu and he gave them money for lunch as usual. And they asked, "Oh, where are you from?" They said, "Well, we are from home. Mom had convened a family meeting to discuss routine matters." Marge immediately called my mom. "You said I was your son. How can you be convening a family meeting and I'm excluded?" There was no defense to that charge. So he called me about 2 weeks ago, as he always did on a number of things. We had tea in the morning and explained in detail his medical condition and what he was going to do about it. I did ask him whether he was fine doing the surgery here in Nairobi. And he said, yeah, it's okay. It's a simple procedure. It's unfortunate that we've lost him. And during that occasion, he told me, I can no longer write, but I can type. And in that process, he was functional, he was happy. A friend of mine, an advocate who was having client problems at the Kenya National Examination Council, had a problem, so I explained to him, oh, okay, let's try and do something about it. He made a call at NEC. He told me that he himself used to work at NEC during school holidays and facilitated the help that was needed. And he did mention to me at that point that even him, his name Shikomera, had a clerical problem. I can't remember whether he said it should have ended with an A or a U, but he explained to me that it had a clerical error, but he had come to live with it. But that was Marge the brother. Marge the institutionalist. Marge did so many things. When we were doing the recruitment, when the Judicial Service Commission asked me to help with the communication processes during the recruitment of the Chief Justice in 2 years, almost 3 years ago, Marge was very supportive. Within seconds of the decision being made, Marge was on phone with me, advising on how we should angle this story, the appointment of the first female Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. He was very particular. And if I may reveal, CJ, that iconic photo of the power walk of all female judiciary leadership, of CJ Kome, DCJ Mwilu, and then CRJ Amadi. That iconic power walk was a product of a conspiracy between me, Marge, and the then registrar of the JSC, now CRJ, Frida Mukaya. Mulikuwa munapangwa. And please don't take disciplinary action against me for it. In any case, we can invoke statute of limitations. The key witness has left us, and the CRJ will declare the fifth. But such was Maj's interest in showcasing the judiciary to other arms of government and to the world, that the judiciary was keen on women empowerment and women leadership. Now, to the point that CJ Mutunga asked me to mention, we're talking about Maj the institutionalist. When CJ Mutunga was working on the Constitution of Kenya, protection of fundamental rights and freedoms practice and procedure rules, which are commonly referred to as the Mutunga rules, it is to Maj that he turns to lead the consultation with civil society groups and other stakeholders to draft the rules. Those friendly rules that we have, that we see with respect to accessing our rights and asserting our rights, have a very healthy dose of Maj's formidable intelligent quotient. Maj's footprint, our imprint is so large on those rules, but you'll never hear him talk about it. Again, the institutionalist Maj struck in 2013, 2012. We were facing the first election that was likely to have so many petitions. Maj was in my office, said, you know, you've been so consumed with the other transformation processes, but we are not thinking about how to deliver the petitions that'll be a deluge effectively. What to do? And so the Judiciary Committee on Elections was born. That was Maj's idea. He drafted the TORs of that committee and proceeded to serve with distinction in that committee. When I shared with CJ Mutunga this idea, as those who know him very well, like Mbete here, he just say, oh, alhamdulillah, thank God for Justice Majanja. He's given us a device that we can use to do these elections. Maj the institutionalist, Justice Omange has talked about Migori. When he was taken to Homa Bay, he did revolutionary things. Started a CUC's process that sorted out succession matters and freed lands assets. For him, he said, this is not about law, this is about economic empowerment. He followed up, renovated the old court, acquired a new court, and Justice Esther Maina started that process. He helped lay the foundation of the modern court in Homa Bay that is coming up, the new court in Bita. All that was Maj's work. And CJ, because of the budgetary cuts that we've had, the court in Homa Bay and Bita are yumbering. Let's try and complete them as we reprioritize our budget in honor of a great man. And the other point is, when he was posted to Homa Bay, he served as the first High Court judge in Migori as well. This was important for Maj, because in the 90s, we had a legendary DC called Victor Musoga for South Nyanza. South Nyanza was both Homa Bay and Migori counties combined. Now, when Maj was posted to Homa Bay and was in charge of Migori as well, just like his uncle, Victor Musoga, Maj was suddenly in charge of South Nyanza. He was so proud of it that when I visited him in the village on Good Friday this year, he made sure that we passed by Victor Musoga's home and said, this is the uncle that created the path for me to serve in Southern Nyanza. Let me conclude, Judge, by saying this, and let me bribe you by saying that you'll be mentioned in good light in these last comments. Maj was part of the post-2010 founding bench in the Constitutional and Human Rights Division and its sister division in the Judicial Review. He served along Justice Lenaola, Justice Mumbingugi, Odunga, Justice Wasami. In the OCJ boardroom, we used to call it the Mercedes bench. Mercedes bench. It was solid. It evinced judicial courage. It was efficient. It glittered with progressive jurisprudence and glamour. Maj was a shining marble in that ensemble. he was a marvel. We were so invested in the new constitution because we knew that if the substance, tone, and tenor of the first judgments were right, then the constitution would survive and endure. Maj was a prominent member of the Mercedes bench. He was a marvel. He was a magisterial. Maj was magical, and he was barely 40. The Mercedes bench of the two divisions were the gifts that kept giving. Fellow Kenyans and friends, it is because of Justice Majanja and other judges' refusal to pursue a policy of judicial appeasement towards the executive and the legislature that injected vital nascent doses of oxygen to the Constitution 2010. Through Maj and other judges of that era, the birth of the Constitution survived life-threatening congenital defects. The progressive content in the Constitution 2010 did not suffer infant mortality or under 5 mortality that is so prevalent in Africa because of the judicial courage of Justice Majanja and other members of the Mercedes bench. Justice Joel Ngugi was a backseat driver of that bench. And when I look, I conclude, and when I look at the careers of the Mercedes bench, because I study the judiciary quite a bit, it is safe to say that eschewing judicial appeasement pays, however temporary, its immediate discomforts. Lenaola judge leapfrogged from the High Court into the Court of Appeal. Supreme Court, I wanted you to hear properly, so the mistake, the Freudian slip was deliberate. Justice Ngugi, Justice Odunga, Justice Wasame, Justice Ngugi here were all elevated to the Court of Appeal after fairly short stints at the High Court. Justice Majanja was first elected unopposed to the JSC, and only recently, as Judge Manga said, re-elected with a landslide for a second term to serve in the JSC, the first High Court judge to be so elected to serve for 2 terms. Judicial courage is what this country needs, not judicial appeasement. And it pays at a professional, personal level, it pays constitutionally, and it helps our democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, because of his humility, Maj's brilliance was not performative, it was surgical. His mien was not assertive, but it was indelible in its wake. Vehemence was not his style, but steadiness was his manner. His intelligence was effortless, careening through the labyrinth of law with dissembling ease. My friend, my brother, we are in pain. We stretch the pain of your demise by celebrating your huge footprints in the sands of history. We salve the wounds of your sudden departure by honoring the edifying, timeless legacy of a progressive, formidable jurist. I bid farewell to a personal friend, a brother with whom we were looking forward to your home housewarming party later this year. David Amilcar Shikomera Majanja. Fare thee well, my brother. You go now. We remain, we shall come. One day, someday, any day. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Duncan. I have to say that is the longest speech I've ever seen Duncan giving, and it was really heartfelt. It felt very difficult to stop him from giving that speech. He needed to give it. So thank you, Commissioner Okello. I did not give him more time because he and I are alleged to belong to a certain council. I only gave him more time because he needed to make that speech. Please allow me to breach protocol at the request of the head of public service because he needs to be in a meeting in the next few minutes and is requested to address us now. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Felix Koskei.
Thank you, Judge. The larger family of Majanja, the entire judiciary led by Chief Justice, Judicial Service Commission, the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Director of Public Prosecution, Member of Parliament, Majanja's Member of Parliament, distinguished monarchs, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Mine will be very, very short. This guy who is lying here was my friend, and a true friend, a genuine friend, a man of his word, a man of integrity, and a man who means what he says. I got the news, the worst news when he passed on from Justice Warsame and Madam CRJ here. It was devastating. I just took off from the office straight home because I could not manage to really digest even the news. We worked with Majanja for 3.5 years in Judicial Service Commission, as a commissioner. He found me there when I was 6 months old. And he came in with energy, came in with comradeship, came in somebody with open arms. He taught us a lot. He guided us in the issues of law. And we worked together. We worked very well. And he was always a man who was bringing all of us together whenever there are issues that we have divergent minds. We worked with Majanja in several committees. One that stood out was audit and governance, where my brother Mashari Njeru was a member, Majanja and myself. And we did justice to bring governance to judiciary. He was firm. Sometimes he was telling us, oh, now as we are disciplining these people, I don't know whether I'm putting my job on the line because his position was elective. But he continued putting his foot down and says things must be done right. So I don't want to repeat what other people have said. Majanja, whenever we travel abroad, he has known that I'm a poor shopper. I don't shop a lot. So he was always shopping 2-3 suitcases. And he knew for sure Felix will own one suitcase whenever we go. And he's a guy who kept in touch all through. In fact, he sent me a message, I think 2 days or 3 days before his demise. We met last fiscally on 8th of June, where we had the whole hour of discussions on what we need to do and the advices that he was extending to us on how to manage the situations that we were in. Majanja, we have lost him. But I'm sure whatever contribution he gave to this country, it will be very difficult for anybody to match. He was a true citizen of this country, true patriot, and a Kenyan to beat. Thank you. And Paul and son.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Koskei. Next, we have a segment where we have members of the Law Society of Kenya who will give their tributes. May I, with much humility, call Mr. Renson Ingonga, the Director of Public Prosecutions. And as he comes, the next to speak is going to be my teacher, Professor Githu Wigai. I have not seen him here. Oh, he is present. And then at the tail end of this segment, we will have the President of the Law Society of Kenya, Faith Odhiambo. So if you could begin with Mr. Ingonga. Karibu.
Thank you. The family of David, all mourners, good afternoon. I don't know what to say for David. I think I've said a bit in my tribute to David. David was a fine man and brilliant. David was a very close friend. Yeah. I learned of his death while in Morocco. Fortunately, I had won the election as president of the Africa Prosecutors Association, planning to call him about the same because he knew of my campaign for that position before I left this country. David was one guy who was very hardworking and never wanted to leave his job to even attend to his health. He knew in most cases, whenever he would tell me something about his health, I'd push him. When he first went to hospital and he was admitted and scans were done, MRI and whatever, after he came out, he talked to Justice Dora, and he told her, don't tell, he used to call me Renison, not Ransom, Renison. Don't tell Renison about this. I'll tell him myself. I took about 3-4 days. I never saw his call. I decided to call. He didn't pick. And one weekend, he decided to call me. I asked him, David, I'm told you are in hospital, but you never told me about it. I used to call him David, no other name. He said, yeah, it is true. If I had told you, I know how you normally push. And I even told Judge Dora to make sure that she doesn't tell, I'll tell you myself after I've decided what I want to do. He told me there was something he said in the chest, which is very simple. It's not affecting anywhere in his body. But one thing he told me, that he could not write. He told me at the moment I can't write. If you get my speech very well, it's blood. That's what he told me. I asked him, why do you want this done? He said, no, they said it's just a simple procedure to be done at the Nairobi hospital. I told him, David, why can't you go to India or South Africa? Have friends there we can do right away. He said, no, this is a very simple thing. I've been advised by the doctors that will be done here. But I believe maybe it was God's plan. We left, we lost a very fine, brilliant person in Kenya. All I would say, let him go with peace. Let his brilliance remain with those of us who learned from him and the family of David. God will be with you. We'll pray for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Professor Githi Muigai. I should say, when Professor Githi Muigai taught us criminal law, he mesmerized all of us except Majanja. He's the only person who used to respond to him in class. Karibu Mwalimu.
Thank you very much. I'll be very brief. The last, as you have heard, I'm a law teacher. The last case I argued before Judge Majanja, he asked us, how long will you be? I said, give us 30 minutes each. And he said, how can you, of all people, ask for more time when you are the one who taught us to be brief? So I don't want to, on this final day that we are sending him off, to speak a lot, except to say this. Majanja was my student, as Judge Ngugi has said. He became my pupil, he became my associate, and became my partner. We worked together for 12 years. He was a tremendous intellectual, a very deep man. He was a great humanist. He felt deeply for human beings and the people he served. For me, he improved my ability to practice law. He drafted for me very well. He taught me to write precisely, simply. He told me, Mwalimu, you write the way you talk. That is wrong. Write short, simple sentences. Farewell, David, farewell.
Thank you, Mwalimu. Having just finished reading your book, I should say Majanja also believe in the spirit of the law, which apparently you don't. Next, we have the President of the Law Society of Kenya. If you can all if we can all follow the model that has been shown by our teacher, that would be great. Karibu, President.
To the family of Honorable Justice David Majanja, God is good, and all the time. As I share on behalf of the legal fraternity, as I see the faces here of the commissioners, of the judges, of the friends, we can just see how somber the mood is. But I say, do not mourn and weep like Majanja has not left his children. He's left his children who are the law, the legal precedents that will be forever spoken about. The people that he has mentored, the people that he's held their hands, those are the children that will tell his story for years to come. I must say that when I was doing my judicial attachment and we were at Milimani courts, I remember Majanja then as an advocate. And he used to have this nice, colorful language. I think maybe he stole some from senior counsel Gitu. And the way he would articulate himself, you'd feel like you're in one of those moments in the suits or the practice that I used to love to watch. And so he's been an inspiration even without knowing. I used to say when I argue I'll be making my arguments when I finally become an advocate. I'll be making such remarks using Shakespeare, using, the most amazing language to just share and also articulate myself well. So on behalf of the legal fraternity, I tell the dad and the family, poleni sana. It was with a heavy heart and profound sense of loss that we learned of the passing of Honorable Justice David Shikomera Majanja, Judge of the High Court of Kenya and Commissioner of the Judicial Service Commission on Wednesday, the 10th of July 2024. He was a member of the Law Society of Kenya, having been admitted to the bar on 12 March 1998. He trained as a pupil and received instructions in the proper business, practice, and employment of an advocate at Mohammed and Mugai Advocates, which was preceded by his graduation from the University of Nairobi on 9th December 1996 with a Bachelor of Laws degree. After his admission, he continued to work at Mohammed and Mugai Advocates and later Onyango and Ohaga Advocates until he established his own firm under the name and style of Majanja Luceno and Company Advocates in 2008. Honorable Justice David Shikomera Majanja had a successful career as a legal practitioner, which was characterized by a deep understanding of the law and a dedication to justice. He specialized extensively in civil and commercial law and public interest litigation and was assisting counsel for the Commission of Inquiry to the Post-Election Violence, the Waki Commission. He also served the Law Society of Kenya in various capacities. He was also one of our good speakers at the different CPD fora and a member of the Advocates Disciplinary Tribunal. Honorable David Majanja was appointed Judge of the High Court of Kenya in 2011 and served at Homa Bay, Migori, Kisumu, Kisii High Courts. He also served in the Commercial and Tax Divisions and Milimani High Court Civil Division. Whilst on the bench, Honorable Justice David Shikomera Majanja served the judiciary in various capacities, including the chair of the Administration of Justice Committee at the JSC and a member of the Judicial Rules Committee. He served with distinction in all these capacities. His judgments consistently reflected a profound understanding of the law and unwavering dedication to fairness. He exuded great intelligence, rigor, and fair-mindedness, and was instrumental in handling significant constitutional and human rights cases, bringing clarity and justice to complex issues. He was a steadfast advocate for the judicial independence and believed in judiciary free from external influences, which he viewed as an essential for the fair administration of justice. I must agree with Honorable Senior Counsel Githu Muigai that when he gave you time, he would actually limit it. I remember a time that we had to argue over 40 election petitions that were tabled, and he gave everyone about 3 minutes. After everyone making a big roar and complaining, he said, "Are we ready to proceed?" Which we all proceeded and filed our affidavits the next day in the morning. And true to their word, they ensured that they gave reasoned decisions of all those cases. His efforts in this area contributed significantly to the strengthening of judicial institutions in Kenya. He approached his judicial duties with a sense of duty and fairness, earning the respect and admiration of his colleagues, listeners, and the public. Honorable Justice David Shikomera Majanja was also a respected mentor and educator. He frequently engaged with law students, young advocates, and his peers, sharing his vast knowledge and experience. He was admired for his integrity, humility, and compassion. Honorable Justice David Majanja, his legacy is one of dedication to the rule of law and the protection of human rights. His contributions have left a lasting impact on Kenya's legal system, and his judgments will continue to be cited as an authoritative precedent for years to come. His life and work serve as an inspiration to all who seek justice and the betterment of society. His passing is a great loss to the legal community and the nation, but his legacy will continue to inspire future generations of legal professionals and judges. And I want to say that if we want to remember Justice Majanja, the best way we can ensure that is those who continue to serve at the judiciary. Let's ensure that all this new young generation feel safe in the hands of the courts. Let us not see more young men and women dying in the streets, because we have the courts, and the courts of law can protect each and every one of us. That we trust in these institutions because of the kind of integrity that our judges and judicial officers hold. We believe in a society that should be run within the Constitution of Kenya. And in that way, let us ensure that the legacy of the judge lives strong and lives on. Let people come to the courts. Let us continue to protect our courts and hold firmly that in these courts we can find justice. In these courts we can find solace. In these courts we can find justice for everyone. In this time of sorrow, we extend our deepest condolences to his family, his friends, and colleagues. Although a mighty oak has fallen, we pray you find comfort in knowing that his legacy will continue to inspire and guide future generations. May the Lord graciously fortify you to bear this loss, steady your hearts, and grant you ample grace during this trying period. May he be your strength, your guide, and may he hold you close.
Thank you, President Faith. Please allow me to make two important announcements. Before, I made a humble request that we try and keep our speeches to 2 minutes. At that time, it was based on the fact that we've been here for a very long time. Now, there is a different and more compelling reasons. We are under very strict timelines because the interment is taking place in Karioko. And we're receiving messages that we are running afoul of time. So please, I ask any other person that is going to speak, please keep to 2 minutes except our chief guest. Please 2 minutes. If you have a written speech, and I will enforce this from now, you will not read it. If you have a written speech, you will not read it, please. Just give your extempore remarks, and then your speech will be published in the collection of tributes which the judiciary is collecting, which will be handed over to the family of Justice Majanja. Those tributes will remain on the judiciary website for 3 weeks for all of us to access them. So please make sure you send them. We will be circulating the website where you can submit your tribute. So please, no more written speeches, just a minute or two, so that we can honor our brother with the interment that he has requested. The other announcement is that if you're the driver or the owner of KCK 868P, it's being stolen. So you might want to go outside and check on it immediately. Next, for this part, we want to get into the judiciary part. Please allow me to call all the people who are going to speak in this next segment to come here so that we can move fairly quickly with it. So please let me have a Honorable Bernard Ochoi who will speak on behalf of Mahakama Club. Please, if you can come to the front. We have a Honorable Kiongo who will speak on behalf of KMJA. We have Mr. Justice Alfred Mabea who will speak on behalf of KWJA. We have Mr. Maurice Ireri, who was Mr. Majanja's aide. Are they here? If you can have those four to begin. So please, 2 minutes each, no written speech. If you could just come in front so that we can finish those three, please. Thank you. Honorable Ochoi.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Bernard Ochoi. I'm a magistrate at Milimani Law Courts, but at the same time, I'm the captain, Mahakama Legends Football Club. And we were privileged as a club to have Justice Majanja as our patron. He has held our hands and has supported the club in many ways. I want to remember that every December, Christmas, in our CSR programs, he used to support us and visited the children's homes. In particular, Don Bosco Boys Center, Karen, Tree House Children's Home in Lucky Summer Village, Kasarani, among others. Justice Majanja also registered us in various tournaments which we participated in, and the last tournament that he supported us in was his own Majanja Cup, where he was the founder and the patron. So we are going to miss you, our patron. Your unwavering support, dedication, and love for football will forever be remembered. You are more than a patron. You are a pillar of strength, a source of wisdom, and true fun in every sense of the word. Rest thee well. And as we do in football or sports circles, I have a jersey in honor of our patron, which I want to present to the family. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have KMJ, Honorable Kiongo. I am really trying to enforce this rule because we've received yet another message that we are being waited for at Karioko now. So please, let's keep to 2 minutes maximum. Thank you.
I will adopt the protocols that were laid down by the Court of Appeal Judge Justice Gogi. I will also, due to time, I will also adopt all the good messages that are coming out from the rich social capital that Justice Majanja had. But I'm here on behalf of the Kenya Magistrate and Judges Association, having been sent by the President and the Council. It's a bit engaged somewhere, that's why they are not here. But allow me to just ask the members of the KMJ to just wave wherever they are, wave to the congregation. Thank you so much. As we mourn the late Justice Majanja, much has been said. There is no need to repeat, but I will just ask us to make sure that we tend the seed that he sowed in us, the seed of being selfless, the seed of being a person with a class, but yet without a class when you are interacting with other people, a seed of being tribeless, a seed of hard work, and a seed of dedication to his work. Justice Majanja, I don't know who will fill your shoes, but may your soul rest in eternal peace. Asanteni sana.
All protocols observed. I am Justice Alfred Mabea, and I'm here for and on behalf of the Kenya Judges Welfare Association. 1 minute. I was sworn at the same time with Justice Majanja. We have come a long way with him. All that I can describe Majanja to be is he was so consultative on matters touching on the College of Judges. Probably he would not meet each and every judge, but he would always make sure that on matters welfare, before he goes to the JSC, he would consult us, he will consult the presidents of the Kenya Judges Welfare Association, so that to make sure that whatever presentation he takes to the commission is in line with the wishes of the judges. And that is why we've been told that as late as May, the judges returned him to that commission so that he could continue representing them. Secondly, he was, as a bright mind as he was not selfish with his knowledge. Not only did he mentor the young judges, but those of us always will seek advice from him, will consult, and will, when we have difficult matters before us, and he was always willing to assist. What I can say is that whoever takes up the commission's position for the College of Judges, please emulate him so that we can have proper leadership for the College of Judges. Thank you. May David rest in eternal peace.
Amen. Thank you. Mr. Maurice Ireri, who was security aide for Justice Majanja.
All protocol observed. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Maurice Ireri Kidu. I'm a police constable. I met Judge last year when I was attached to be his driver and security. And all I can say is he turned from being a boss to me to a brother. Thank you.
Thank you. So very we share in your profound loss. The next three speakers. First, we have the Justice Christine Meoli, who will speak on behalf of Civil Division. And we have the Principal Judge of the High Court, Mr. Justice Eric Ogola. And then to bring to an end that segment, we will have the person who will speak on behalf of the Judicial Services Commission, who I understand is Commissioner Omwanza. If you can just get ready with your 2-minute speeches. But for now, let me please call Lady Justice Meoli. Karibu, Judge.
Please allow me to adopt the protocol that has been established. We had a written tribute from the Civil Division family where Judge Majanja was serving. And because I'm a law-abiding citizen, I have obeyed the directions that have been given by the Judge of Appeal that I should not bring my tribute to read it here. But I would like, first of all, to send our condolences to Mzee on my own behalf and on behalf of the Civil Division, to Mama, to the siblings of Judge Majanja, and the entire family. And to tell you that, as we promised, we'll continue to pray for you, for God to strengthen you. Having said that, I would want to just reflect back on Judge Majanja's brief sojourn in the Civil Division. I think the only thing that summarizes him is to say that he was a judge who exemplified a man on a mission. Indeed, not just a mission, but an urgent mission. And interacting with him, you noticed that he was almost always running ahead of himself, and he had a great sense of urgency. In retrospect, maybe he knew time was short. Judges, and his presence in the division has touched us in so many different ways. And even though we were really looking forward that Judge Majanja remains in the Civil Division because of the way in which he enriched all of us, we are grateful for the time we spent with him, and he has left a footprint in all our hearts that we'll carry with us. So we just thank God for that time that he gave us with him. And we say, goodbye, gentle giant. Goodbye, man on an urgent mission. Your mission is complete. To God be the glory.
Thank you.
fellow mourners, Majanja family, father and mother, poleni sana. It's a difficult day, but God made it like that. My name is Justice Eric Ogola. I am the principal judge of the High Court. Majanja worked in the High Court, and my tribute is on behalf of all the co-equal courts, all the principals of our co-equal courts. I would want to start by saying that I was admitted to the judiciary on the same day together with Justice Majanja. And because of time, I will not say so much except to say that Majanja was a very close friend of mine. He has visited me twice at home, and whenever he's around in Western Kenya, he would call me, Ogola, are you in Sigomre? I am coming. There's one thing which I want to say because of time. I noticed that Majanja was unwell in June when we were conducting, inducting the new judges which were appointed to the High Court. And when he addressed the judges, he appeared, his speech was slurred, and I wondered why does he have a slurred speech? And I made a mental note that I would ask him why he appeared to be drunk when he spoke to us. Then on Monday, he came to the office as he usually does. Majanja comes to my office every morning just to encourage me. He tells me, Ogola, where you are is difficult. I am here to give you encouragement. And every day, Majanja would come to my office. And before I start court, if I'm starting court online, Leah would tell me, Leah is my personal assistant, that Majanja is here or Majanja will be coming. So he was a source of encouragement to the High Court. So when he came, I asked him, what was the problem? Why were you appearing as if you were drunk? No, he told me, my friend, I am very sick. Then he told me that he is planning to go to the hospital to find the reason as to why he was sick. Then the following day, he came back and told me, you see, I have found the problem that I had. It's a minor problem. It will be done. There's no cause for alarm. So on Monday, last Monday, he came to my office and told me, Judge, you are traveling to Abuja. I was traveling to Abuja the following day. That I am going for this special operation, but it's a minor operation. I don't want you to think much about it because we are traveling, and I also don't want you to tell judges about it because they will be unduly worried, but it's a very minor operation. Then he saw the book that I was reading. The book that I was reading is entitled The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. Then he told me, what are you reading? Then I showed him the book. The book documents a timeless art of turning trials into triumph. The book quotes Marcus Aurelius, who said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Then he told me, in our country today, there's a lot of impediments. We have impediments of the financial bills, we have the impediment of Gen Zs, and we have impediment in the judiciary because we have no resources. How are we going to deal with this? I told him, this book says that the way to impediment is the way out of impediment is the impediment itself. Then he laughed, and then he said, he had this habit of waving things. Then he said, Ogola, we are going to discuss this when you come back from Abuja, and when I come back from the hospital, we'll discuss how we can work with the few resources, or the little resources we have the judiciary to advance the cause of justice. That was our last talk. Little did I know that the impediment in the chest of my brother was the way out of him to eternity. The impediment in his chest, which he said was something small, was going to be the way out of him to eternity. I heard about this death when I was in Abuja. We were with Lady Justice Nyamoya. We were devastated. It was devastating. Up to now, it has been very, very difficult. But I just want to thank the judiciary. I want to thank the Honorable CJ and the DCJ for the encouragement that you have given us in the judiciary, the encouragement that you have given the High Court. And I want to thank the High Court and the judiciary for this function.
I want to thank J.A. Muchelule for this function, Honorable Clarence Otieno Omondi for doing a wonderful work. And I want to thank also Justice Maina, who held fort for me when I was away. Our Father, your pain will linger for some time, but in God's time, it will go away. And for us in the High Court and the judiciary, we'll pray for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Commissioner Omwanza on behalf of the Judicial Services Commission.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, Church. Good afternoon, Dad Majanja and the rest of the congregation. I am here on behalf of the Judicial Service Commission and also as a personal friend to Justice Majanja for almost 20 years. But before I start, I would like to recognize all the commissioners who are in the house. If you can please stand and wave. Thank you, Chief Justice and all the commissioners. We have a tribute from the Judicial Service Commission, which is written and which I'm sure most of you have read. We also have personal tributes by commissioners on behalf of Justice Majanja. Indeed, the Judicial Service Commission is a family. We meet very regularly every month, sometimes, quite often, and therefore we are truly a family. And I do not want to repeat what everybody has said. I think it's common cause that Justice Majanja was a brilliant man and he was a great humanist. But I would want to say one or two things about him. Most of you are not on social media, but he used to run a social media account known as the Kenya Jurist. And he used to have this thing that he used to write. He says, "I don't like Monday." So on every weekend, he would say something funny about the weekend. And he said, "Oh, I forgot that tomorrow is Monday." So he had a very good sense of humor. And the plan actually was not for him to die. He had great plans for himself as a person. Because I remember when we spoke with him, he told me, "Omwanza, the judiciary is my family." And the way I see it is that I would like to go to the Supreme Court. Because we traveled a lot together, he had a great sense of connecting to everybody from the judges of the Supreme Court to the clerks at the halls of justice, and even to people who would sell maize on the road. I remember when we traveled with him last to Rwanda about 4 weeks ago. Actually, it is exactly 4 weeks ago when we were with him in Rwanda. We traveled to a place called Gisenyi. It's in the northern part of Rwanda. And he insisted. I told him, "Judge, I don't feel like I want to leave Kigali." He said, no, you must travel with me. So he rescheduled and we traveled on a Friday. I think it was on the 15th of last month. And we went and we had this, we went to a local and we had some very good fish. I think it's called sambaza. I'm told from Luo Nyanza you call it fulu. So it's some small fish which is dipped on oil and then you just chew it. So he loved food. He was a foodie, and truly he whenever we were in even we were traveling together or when we were in Rwanda, he would tell me, "Omwanza, I think there is this place which has very good food. Let's go have a taste." So he really loved good food. And a surprise to some of you is that he also was a very good cook. I don't know how many of you, especially my male colleagues who cook for yourselves. Justice Majanja had an amazing memory. excellent memory about people, about places. And I remember we met people 2-3 months before, and then you'll be like, oh, but I think I met you somewhere. And I think that was one of the ways in which he also connected with people. So today was not a day for us to bury or interjudge, but it is what it is. And I want to read, in conclusion, an excerpt from the sermon of Dr. Martin Luther King titled The Eulogy of the Martyred Children, which was read sometimes in 1963. It was a sermon he delivered when 3 children were killed. And in an excerpt, he says this: "But I hope you can find a little consolation from the universality of this experience. Death comes to every individual. There is an amazing democracy about death. It is not an aristocracy for some of the people, but a democracy for all of the people. Kings die and beggars die. Rich men die and poor men die. The innocent and the guilty both die. And so has also Justice Majanja died. Death is the irreducible common denominator for all men. I pray for the soul of Justice David Shikomera Majanja. May he rest in power. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Before we go to the last segment of these speeches, allow me to make 4 very quick announcements. So first of all, for those of you who've not been able to give your tributes, or those of you who had longer tributes, we will have a ceremony for closing Justice Majanja's file in the judiciary at Milimani on the 25th, that is next week. So you'll have another opportunity to give your tribute or to hand it in as well. So please pencil that in your diary. The 25th of July, which is next week, we'll have the closing of the file ceremony for Justice Majanja. Then I would also like to announce, as we come to an end, just for the efficient and orderly recession, we request all the mourners who are in church to please use the side doors so that the pallbearers can use the main door and the immediate family. That means the people who are in the first 2 rows will use the main door, and everyone else we will use the side door so that we have an orderly, efficient recession from the church. I ask members of class of 1990 and class of 1996 will please meet outside for the final compliance with the orders, which Majanja always did. So we'll just meet outside daily after that. Finally, I have condolences messages from the chair of the Old Boys Club of Alliance High School, and also from Mama County, who was here but unfortunately couldn't stay until the end, Honorable Elsie Muhanda. And now it's my distinct pleasure to invite the Honorable Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, who I will request for the sake of time to take us through the next segment after she finishes a short speech, which I insist must be 2 minutes or less. She will then invite the Honorable Deputy Chief Justice, and I hope you'll have the words to convince her to make her speech 2 minutes or less, even as you invite her. And when the Honorable Deputy Chief Justice invites the Honorable Chief Justice to make her speech and also to invite the Speaker of the National Assembly, I hope, Honorable Chief Justice, you'll have the persuasion to convince the Honorable Chief Justice to give a speech that is less than 3 minutes. Please. Thank you very much. Here is the Honorable Chief Registrar.
Thank you, Justice Ngugi. I believe this is the only time I can be able to take instructions from you. To the family of our dear friend and colleague, Justice Majanja, Honorable Chief Justice, I stand on the protocols that have already been established. I had a written speech, but because of time, I will say that Honorable Justice Majanja was a great man. And today we stand to mourn him as a great leader, as a mentor, as a man who spoke for the voiceless and who defended the weak. Justice Majanja, I first encountered him in August 2011 when he appeared before the Judicial Service Commission in August during the recruitment of the first cohort of judges under the 2010 Constitution. And him, together with Professor Ngugi, were the youngest judges to be appointed then at the age of 38. Certainly because of the credentials, strong credentials that you held, but you still did not disappoint, and Judge Majanja did not disappoint. So because of time, I recognize that there are staff who are here from the judiciary. Perhaps you could stand up just for recognition. Staff of the judiciary, please wave. Staff of the Judicial Service Commission who are here, please stand up and wave for recognition. Thank you. Justice Majanja was the bridge between us and the commission. He was a man who was down to earth and believed in those who were even below him. So because of time, it is my singular pleasure to welcome the Honorable Deputy Chief Justice to address and make her remarks. Thank you.
Fellow mourners, on 9th of this month in the evening, I was called by my PA to tell me that Judge Majanja had called to have me be informed that he was going to go into hospital the following morning, but that I should not worry, and he didn't want to talk to me. So I asked why he didn't want to talk to me, and I was told his speech was completely blurred and he didn't want me to worry. But by saying that, he really made me worry. And so I waited that night. Thankfully, we had somebody at the hospital whom we kept calling to find out how he was doing. But Judge Majanja said that the following morning, would I go to see him in the hospital? The operation was scheduled for 9 according to the information, and later 10. I don't know when it finally happened. Now, 10th was a difficult day for me because I kept asking, has he been seen? And the hospital would not give us information. Finally, they gave us the room in the ward to which he would be taken after the treatment. So at 3, I had completely panicked, and I insisted that my PA calls the hospital. And when we called, we were told, just hold on. We are now headed to the ICU or something like that. And now I properly panicked. Judge Majanja and I had 3 great years at the Judicial Service Commission, 3 very great years during an extremely difficult time when he, myself, and a few others were trying to fight to defend the independence of the judiciary. Judge Majanja was my friend from 2011. Judge Majanja and I had very many meals together, which of course I bought because I was the senior. That's a practice in the legal profession, not because he was broke, because he was never broke. And the last one we had was in May during his campaigns. In April or May, I forget which, he found me before the ELC judges in Naivasha. We had a retreat, and that's the day I noticed that his hand was shaking. So when we walked out, I asked him, Judge, are you so scared of this election? You already won one before. Why would you be worried now? Then he said, DCJ, don't worry. That's all he said. And I wish he had told me then, because although I'm not a doctor, or maybe I should even take that back, because when time comes, it comes. I don't know who can stop God. When finally I got the message that we had lost Judge, I was totally crushed. Because unlike most of us who are hypocrites, he was not. He was a nice guy, very nice guy. Treated all of us with due respect, consulted all of us. And me in particular, he would call and tell me, get out of chambers. We rarely met in the building for obvious reasons. And we went to our lunch place and he would say, oh, this is happening. Why don't we do it this way? Or what do you think? And whatever. We are all dying. We are dying. I don't know when I will go, but when I go, I hope there'll be somebody to say, despite everything that is negative about me, I cared about humanity. Judge cared about humanity. A shame on death, because Resurrection Day is coming. Rest well, my brother. CJ.
Thank you very much, Honorable DCJ. The family of the Honorable Justice David Majanja, and all of us mourners, the clergy, a very good afternoon to you all. It is indeed a very, very difficult day for us, but we thank God for bringing us this far. And we want to thank everybody who has stand up so that we can give our brother a befitting send-off. I want to particularly thank the clergy, the pastors of the Friends Church for hosting us and organizing such a beautiful send-off. I liked the laying of the race. I liked the songs like Dad said. They have, and the message which came with such clarity. It has edified us and encouraged us that we are all on this road to eternity, and Judge has just gone ahead of us. We are on that journey. So Dad, we cannot stop thanking you, Mom, the siblings, and the entire Lanja family of Justice Majanja for bringing up a fine, fine missionary of justice, who discharged justice with vigor, fairness, and with expediency. He cared for the vulnerable. Everything that he did, he connected. He was without age. He was without tribe. He was without gender. He cared for all of us. And for that, we are eternally grateful for those values you ingrained in him, the society, the community, the family that brought him up. Thank you very much. And God is the only one who can step in that gap that our missionary of justice has left, that our general in justice has left. Honorable Justice David Majanja lived by the mantra that we all find pinned on his X, what we used to formerly call Twitter handle, Kenyan jurist. And he said, law is my life. justice is blind. This mantra, as every speaker has said, epitomized his distinguished career as a legal practitioner, his years of service as a judge of the High Court, and his tenure as the Commissioner of the Judicial Service Commission. He brought peace and harmony wherever he went. It reflects his commitment to upholding the rule of law and ensuring the fair administration of justice. He dedicated his life to these principles, applying them to the law, which he did with impartiality to ensure equal justice for all. Honorable Majanja made significant contributions to the administration of justice and the development of our jurisprudence. I have many cases that I would have liked to cite where he set precedent that is not only being followed by the courts, but also by the universities and the law school. Justice Majanja was a diligent and hardworking judge. Despite his duties as the commissioner at the Judicial Service Commission, he consistently delivered judgments on time. We were always amazed how he was able to learn his court before we started the Judicial Service Commission meetings. Even if they were starting at 9, he would just walk in with his laptop and say, "I've just finished my hearings," and judgments will be promptly delivered. At the JSC, he played a pivotal role in developing various policies and programs. They have been mentioned. But one which really touched my heart was the gender mainstreaming policy, because he felt that we were not addressing the issue of persons living with disability. Therefore, we must have a policy that guides us until we comply with the Constitution by getting 5% of persons living with disability working in the judiciary. He also spearheaded the sexual harassment policy, and so to it that it was passed, and even upon passing it, that we have a mechanism of implementing it so that victims who were harassed can find a dignified way of reporting and following through their cases. Justice Majanja was an epitome of justice, an epitome of institutional strength, an institution that had structures and systems. And as an active member of the community, Justice Majanja gave back wholeheartedly. He was a mentor and a provider to many. By emulating his example, all we can do is all of us become the defenders of the law and the providers of our own communities. He has left us at a difficult time as a nation, when we are mourning also our children who have died in the quest of expressing their rights as founded in the Constitution. But as this was going on, we kept on urging that we, the judiciary, must stand as the beacon of the defense of the rule of law and the administration of justice. So we will honor Justice Majanja by standing as the last bastion of the defense of the rule of law, the defense of the vulnerable. We will not us judges have another opportunity to say anything other than what we say in the judgment. Because as we all know, we cannot descend in the arena of disputes. We must always be seen as a judiciary which is independent and impartial, that can listen to both sides. But we must always never shy, like Justice Majanja never shined in those judgments, to say what it is that the Constitution says. The Constitution gives us rights. And those rights must be expressed in a way that we do not endanger the lives of those who are expressing their rights. Justice Majanja formulated that policy on gender mainstreaming and against sexual harassment so that this society can take care of the women. And we are pained to hear of the femicide, the glory of femicide, women who are killed and dumped. That breaks our hearts, because as a judiciary, we are there to defend the rule of law. But we rely on so many others to work together with us so that we can administer justice. The spirit of Justice Majanja, of looking out for the weak and the vulnerable, will live forever. So for us, to the family, we extend our deepest prayers and sincere condolences to you, and say that he was a member of our family, a courageous brother who extended his kindness to everybody. We made a solemn declaration that we will work with you, this family, as the family of the judiciary. And to your friends and colleagues in the judiciary, we mourn together a great giant, but we pray that God will give him eternal rest. Our giant will rest in peace forever. He will rest in power. As I end, I wish to convey the condolences of the Solicitor General, Honorable Shandrak Mose. He has sent his condolences. We also received, oh, he is here, he is present here, but we won't have time to give you to talk. Thank you very much for condoling with us and the family. We also received the condolences of the Right Honorable J.B. Moturi, who worked with us at the Judicial Service Commission. He sends his very, very deep condolences to the family. I also wish to convey the condolences of the Chief Justice, retired Emeritus David Maraga, who is out of the country. He also received the death of Justice Majanja with shock, and he conveys his condolences. Family, I have received many messages of condolences from Chief Justices from the region. The Chief Justice of Zambia, the Chief Justice of Uganda, the Chief Justice of Burundi, the Chief Justice of South Sudan, and so many others who have sent us messages of condolences, including the Commonwealth Judges and Magistrates Association. Please receive them. We'll put them together and they'll put in this good message book that we are preparing in honor of our brother. Finally, we all had something to say about Justice Majanja. With me here, we have judiciary staff. I think they have been recognized. Can I have all the honorable magistrates upstanding? We recognize you in a special way because Judge reached out to you. Thank you very much for the wonderful, wonderful support and words of kindness. We have also also judges of the High Court and judges of courts of equal status, ELC and ELRC. If you can be upstanding, we all say our last word of Pole by just waving at the congregation. Thank you for your outpouring of support. We have judges of the Court of Appeal who have also joined us. Please be upstanding, and we all recognize you. The indefatigable Justice Musherure, who is the chair of this funeral committee. Thank you very much, colleagues. We also have judges of the Supreme Court who are with us, who made it today. Others gave their apologies and conveyed their condolences. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, the church, and thank you all who have given us and put this wonderful ceremony together. And now it is my honor and privilege to invite a very special friend of the Honorable Mr. Justice David Majanja, the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable Moses Wetangula, who is going to give his condolences, and that of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you very much, Your Ladyship, for the Chief Justice of our Republic, the family of Justice David Majanja, Mzee, and all your children, Mama, and the greater family. Judges of the Supreme Court, judges of appeal, judges of the High Court, magistrates, distinguished mourners, and of course our DPP, members of Parliament. I've come here to mourn a great friend. I first met Justice Majanja when he was chambering with Guido Muigai, whom we regularly met socially. We became
Ladies and gentlemen, now please welcome businessman Vivek Ramaswamy of Ohio.
Love it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the warm welcome. It's good to be back in Milwaukee. This time last year, I was a candidate for U.S. president, and I'm proud to say that I achieved the impossible, which is that most of you actually know how to say my name by now. So thank you for that. It's good to be back. We're in the middle of a national identity crisis right now. Faith, patriotism, hard work, and family have disappeared, only to be replaced by race, gender, sexuality, and climate. But we're not going to win this election just by criticizing the other side. We're going to win this by standing for our own vision of who we really are. What does it mean to be a Republican in the year 2024? What does it mean to be an American in the year 2024? It means we believe in the ideals of 1776. It means we believe in merit, that you get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions. It means we believe in the rule of law. And I say this as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. That is why we will seal the southern border on day one. Thank you. It means the people who we elect to run the government ought to be the ones who actually run the government, not unelected bureaucrats in the deep state. These are not black ideas or white ideas. They are not even Democrat ideas or Republican ideas. They are American ideas.